Hey guys, this is Andrew Wright, and you're listening to Review the Right Thing, and I'm coming to you tonight with a review of The Lighthouse on Blu-ray. This was an episode I was trying to do about 4 weeks ago when I wanted to get this whole thing started, but just due to technical difficulties, mainly just not having a PC that I could run all the applications I wanted to on, I was forced until I upgraded, and now I'm here speaking with you guys into your ears, and I hope you enjoy. So a little bit about myself. I've been collecting for about 20 years. I basically do anything from Blu-ray to DVDs to CDs to vinyl to video games to action figures, pretty much anything that really interests me at the time. And so I kind of wanted to create this show to talk to you guys about those things. Maybe we can share some common interests, and maybe you guys will enjoy listening to me review these things. So, anyways, I wanted to talk about The Lighthouse. Like I said, I bought this 4 weeks ago when it came out. Had no really expectations going into it other than hearing tons of positive praise, obviously, and I really liked The Witch, so I was hoping that Robert Eggers could really follow up to something that I thought was one of the best movies I had seen in years. And so, what he brings to me is a story of these two lighthouse keepers who become increasingly paranoid during their 4-week contract in a confined lighthouse on this very remote island. And so it was wonderful. Directed by Robert Eggers, written by his brother Max. Jaron Bloschke was the cinematographer on the set, which was the same as The Witch. So you're getting a beautiful looking movie. Score was done by Mark Corvin. And as soon as the movie opens up, we're looking at this really tight, full-frame picture, which, when I was looking into it, is shot at 1:19, which is different from the traditional 4:3. So it really just adds to that element that I think Robert Eggers was going for with a claustrophobic and really limited space. So the opening shot, like I was saying, is shot with a Pets full lens, which really gives it this really dark, gritty image, because it was old film stock. It was an 1840s technology, and the rest of the movie they went with the 35 millimeter, obviously, but it was all orthochromatic film stock, which really pulled out a lot of the reds and made them a lot darker. So you're left with this just really gritty, dark image that just looks awesome. As a result of this really tight framing, we're left with a lot of close-ups of both of the actors, and like I was saying before, with the orthochromatic film stock that they use, there's no red in any of their faces, so you're left with this just really gritty, weathered skin texture. Everything else around it looks just as natural as well. Your clothing textures retain their textural appearance, and I think the Blu-ray just does a really good job of retaining all the information. Since this movie is all in black and white, your blacks are saturated very nicely, and there's a very nice contrast when it does go from very dark to all white in different lights due to where they're standing in the lighthouse. I did not mention before, but the sound design is done by Damian Volpe, and he did an awesome job creating a lot of the sound effects that went along with this movie. The claps of thunder or the crashing of waves, or a lot of the natural sounds going on in the background are basically all of what you hear, other than the haunting score done by Mark Corvin and this horn that I'm sure Damien is responsible for too, which just kind of goes on and on throughout the movie and begins to annoy Robert Pattinson's character more and more. And as I've heard in the commentary track, I believe Robert Eggers did say it's also supposed to kind of drive the viewer mad along with Robert Pattinson's character. The 5.1 DTS track does a really great job of mixing the dialogue with the sound effects going on and the score going on in the background. Nothing ever seems to overshadow anything else and is always mixed at the appropriate levels. Lastly, there's a couple bonus features on the disc. You've got a commentary track with Robert Eggers, which is always a joy to listen to those. Just the passion that goes into creating something that they are really, happy about, and they just want to share their art with the rest of us who get to enjoy it either in a theater or in the comfort of our own home. It's quite amazing. Additionally, we have 3 featurettes. The first one is called Myths Behind the Madness, which is basically just a little production diary on just the making of the Lighthouse, kind of additional information from what was already spoke of in the commentary track. But he did talk about how they had to actually erect a 70-foot lighthouse for this picture. One of the interesting facts that I found out through the commentary and also this featurette and also through an interview that I had read is that you could see the lighthouse's light from anywhere between 12 to 14 to 16 miles. He also then made a comment, though, too, that basically, depending on the interview he was in, that answer has changed, and that's why you have 3 different answers, because he's unsure of actually how far away you can see the light from. But it's pretty impressive that they just built this for a movie. The next featurette we're given is Enchantment in the Light, which is with the cinematographer Jaron Blaschke. Something that was really cool that unfortunately wasn't covered in that featurette, but was talked about in the commentary track, was that the orthochromatic film stock that they used for this movie, since it was so dark, a lot of the scenes they had to actually use halogen lights because the kerosene lamp in front of the 2 actors wasn't enough to illuminate the scene. So it was just something interesting with that film stock being so dark that they had to go to those extra lengths to give us a brighter picture. Lastly, the final featurette, called Figments of Imagination, is just with Robert Eggers talking about his experience with making The Witch and how that basically paved the way to being able to bring us his next feature. And now we are left with 2 wonderful pieces of art. The Blu-ray comes in a standard Blu-ray jewel case with a slipcover, which has basically become the standard industry norm. Sorry to use standard. But maybe one day we'll get a better release from this, maybe from Criterion or something like that with further bonus features. Be really great, just because this is a wonderful movie, and I think it deserves the attention to have a better release. In the meantime, since this is what we have, I still think it's important to, open up your pocketbook and go out and support what Robert Eggers is doing and what the rest of the industry is doing as well. Comment below, and if you like what you heard, you can hit subscribe and hear more Review the Right Thing.
Support the industry, buy physical media.
Support the industry, buy physical media.